I will call the regular meeting for Tuesday, July 19th, 2022 to order. The time is 6:30. Everybody please rise for a moment of silence followed by pledge of allegiance. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is consent agenda. We have June 7th, 2022 regular meeting, June 21st, 2022 regular meeting, and then financial report May 2022. I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the consent agenda as read.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Poll the council.
Place 1.
Aye.
Place 3.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
Place 6.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next item is citizens' comments.
Dang, he's throwing her under the bus.
Does anybody got anything to?
Well, I was just wanting to know if the client from the zoning
We can,
change. I saw it down next on the agenda, so I was just gonna.
Could we move citizens' comments?
ma'am, citizens have the opportunity to comment either under citizens' comments about anything they wish or on a specific agenda.
We're good.
Anytime. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So she can, if she wants to hold her comment until we get to this topic, and then we can answer that question since it's on the agenda.
Okay.
But we have to be on that agenda item
Okay.
first.
So next item is discussion items. Item A, City of Fort Worth Zoning Commission case number ZC-22-102. City Manager Craig Spencer.
So we called a special meeting last week where city council adopted a resolution in opposition of the zoning application to the city of Fort Worth. The city staff recommended a denial of that application. This is specifically related to a property located at 4401 Enon Road. They are wanting to rezone that property from agriculture, it is currently zoned agriculture, to manufactured housing. The city of Fort Worth comp plan and future land use plan identify this property as being zoned in the future for single family. So what that means is just like what we come in and do when we do a future land use is we imagine if the city was built out, what would it be? What would your desire as council be for these specific areas of town to be zoned? That's all that means. So it does not align with what the city of Fort Worth has said that they desire. And it does not align with their comprehensive plan for traffic management and everything else. Therefore, city staff, based on that information alone, recommended denial of that application. I was provided with 2 minutes, but the chairman allowed me to speak for 3. So I had a lot of information to try to get out in 3. Chairman was kind enough to give me that extra minute, but I was still not able to get out all the factual information I wanted to get out. But we did highlight at that meeting the negative impacts of insufficient roadways and overcapacity transportation system. We highlighted the negative impact on the nearby residential neighborhoods, the negative impact on the flood-prone region with the development. It's immediately adjacent to the animal shelter, which would likely cause future complaints and issues between the city of Everman and the residents that are living next door to the animal shelter, between noise and everything else. I do not foresee how the city of Fort Worth would benefit economically from this development, as manufactured homes do not appreciate in value. They simply depreciate in value. So therefore, there's no economic or property tax benefit back to the city. When the zoning commission asked the applicants about owning the land underneath the manufactured home, the applicant stated that no, the person who buys that manufactured home would not own the land. Therefore, again, not offering any sort of positive economic impact back to the city of Fort Worth. It's obviously any condensed residential properties obviously tend to attract more crime when you have such a condensed environment. I did provide them with an example of that, showing how the existing trailer park across the street, as you look at the City of Fort Worth crime map available on their website, there is a hub of crime activity that occurs in that trailer park. And the further away you get from that trailer park, you start to see those crime stats fall off. So that's just an example right there in that area of how condensed residential areas statistically have higher crime rates. I also highlighted that there's minimal transportation services or essential services available to the residents that may live here. Typically, residents that live in manufactured housing or first-time home buyers, or even potentially low income, which means that they have to have specific services available to them to help support their everyday lives. Transportation, food, groceries, those sorts of things that it's just simply not available there. Closest grocery store is 4 miles walking for them. There's no transportation services available to them in that area, and Fort Worth does not indicate any plans to provide any of those services there. The developer has said previously they plan to put that in. However, if a developer ever says something to us about that, then we would not want to rezone something. We would want to go with a planned development, because once the zoning's approved, the developer has the ability to change their plans any way, shape, or form. So anyway, I essentially voiced our opposition in that. I voiced the city council's opposition in that and shared with them the resolution that was adopted. The applicant stated that they wanted a 30-day continuance on the application for the purposes of reaching out to the community and talking to the community, because they also received a copy of a petition here that was signed by several residents of both Everman and Fort Worth, mind you. Some living on Anglin and Enon and in that immediate vicinity that are opposed to the zoning as well. But regardless of the recommendation from staff, the zoning commission agreed to allow them the 30-day continuance in hopes that they would reach out and maybe come up with some solutions. To this day, I have not had any contact from that developer. So we are still in the same position. Therefore, I am planning on having to return to the zoning commission when this goes back before them again next month. They will hear the case again. I will register as a speaker again in opposition of this and see what action is taken then. One thing to keep in mind is even if the zoning commission recommends denial, it will still go before the city council. The city council of Fort Worth has the ability to approve that zoning change, even if zoning board recommends denial. Normally, it's not done except for extraordinary circumstances. Council members appoint board members for the purpose of doing their due diligence and making recommendations for a reason. So it's not common that a council would go against a board's recommendation, but I think it would be in our best interest to oppose it at both the next zoning commission as well as the city council meeting when these are scheduled. So with that, that's the latest I've got on that.
Since phase 1 has already been approved, when are they, what date are they supposed to start on that?
Still no dates because the developer hasn't reached out to me for me to ask.
No, I meant phase 1.
They have not provided me any dates at all. So I have no idea, and I have no contact with the developer to even ask them when they're planning to start the phase 1 of the project.
So is there a risk that phase 1 may not even get started?
So there's a couple of different options here. Phase 1 will likely be started unless the city of Fort Worth changes the zoning. The city of Fort Worth can only change the zoning dependent upon how their policies, and I don't know the city of Fort Worth's policies very well, but the most common policy is that they can change zoning if there is a sufficient petition of residents to change that zoning. We're the city of Everman. It doesn't matter what petition we bring to them. They have no legal obligation to abide by any petition we provide to them. They're a separate government entity. So it would have to be their residents that would provide that petition to the city council to change that zoning from what it's currently zoned to something else.
Okay,
The only other time the zoning can change is if the property owner or applicant wanted
So the
changed.
zoning is not even changed for even phase 1.
No, the zoning is changed for phase
it
1.
is.
Phase
Right,
1 is
right.
already approved as
Yes.
manufactured housing. Can you invite me to the Zoom meeting? I'm sorry. Let me share the map and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about.
Where on Enon were you referencing?
Let me pull up this map and I'll show you
Oh, okay.
exactly where here real quick. Why is it going to my phone? I don't want it on my phone. Gotta love technology. What's the meeting ID? Can you hit invite? Click the invite. Okay. No, meeting ID is 886-631-424. Oh, it's because I'm not connected to the internet. While I'm pulling this up, are there any other questions aside from?
Come in. Permission granted.
One resident from Everman did speak at the hearing.
Yes, that is correct. We did have a resident speak
She's here.
in opposition. Yes, she is here. Okay, so on your screen, you can see this is the map that I actually provided it to them. This area outlined in the blue here is the area that they are applying to be changed from agriculture to single family. This is Enon Road, Enon Road, Enon Avenue down here. This piece of land directly adjacent to it off of Forest Hill Drive was the first piece of property that they applied for that we were not alerted to for the zoning application at the time until after the fact. This one was approved by the zoning commission and by city council to be changed to manufactured housing. So this land here is already approved for manufactured housing. This is the phase 2 portion of the project that they're wishing to make manufactured housing. As you can see, it's a significant size development. The one area that's already approved for manufactured housing is larger than the Flowers Addition neighborhood that we have over there.
Oh, my God.
And if I remember correctly, it was roughly, I think 400 or 500 manufactured homes they were looking to put in what's already zoned as manufactured housing. That's a lot of rooftops.
Yeah.
I thought in the next acres is around is 77 acres. And there's a good portion of it that's in the floodplain. They shouldn't be able to use.
I didn't think we could build on a floodplain. I'm stunned.
You can you have to comply with a lot of FEMA regulations in
Yes.
order to build there. So there would have to be significant drainage changes in that area. I don't know how those drainage changes could be accomplished without adversely impacting something else around there.
Yeah, it's coming
Because
back through
it's
Everman.
it's almost built out over there. I mean,
Ugh.
somebody else's property is going to be affected by
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
What happened with the trailer park that's already down there on Forest Hill? Weren't they going to add more to the back of it? I thought that was gonna be the 400 more or something.
They were attempting to. I don't think that was approved. That's a part of the Hannah Ranch
So this is where they moved it to then?
subdivision. Yes. Let me pull up my other map here.
Would there be possibly any flooding problems with the school that's on Forest Hill Drive? Because it's up high, running into the field where they're talking about putting the manufactured home?
So anytime a development happens, they are required to perform a drainage study. And as a part of that drainage study, they are only allowed to adversely impact the drainage by a certain margin. So, and I'm not a hydrologist, so I'm going to try to explain this as best I can. But if a development comes in, they want to build a building, they're allowed to push off a little bit of water, but it has to stay under a certain limit, right? So what we've experienced over time is that these developments have a small adverse impact on the drainage one at a time.
Mhm.
But when you multiply that by 30 or 40 developments, now you've got a big impact on the drainage. And that's what our theory, because it hasn't been approved, it hasn't been confirmed yet by the flood study, but that is our theory on what's happened here over the many years, is that these developments that have been popping up left and right throughout here have had the small impact that now altogether has led to a significant impact.
They need to look at the videos we take.
And we have this same problem when it relates to the traffic studies. So this traffic study that was done on the first phase of this project, this phase highlighted in purple, was done during the height of COVID. When we met with the city of Fort Worth, the city of Forest Hill, city of Everman, and the developer, after this was already approved, I raised concerns about the traffic study and that the study was not accurately reflective of what's actually occurring out there. So by the developer's own admission, the study was conducted based off historical data only. There were no actual counts performed because school was closed, businesses were closed, everything was shut down. So the study that was presented to the city of Fort Worth was not accurate, and it was done prior to the development of the Uplift Academy. And we all know that the Uplift Academy has had a significant traffic impact on Forest Hill Drive. So I don't know if they're utilizing that same study for phase two. I don't know that a study has even been presented to the city of Fort Worth at this point, but if it is, I can tell you that the study is not accurate.
That needs to be challenged.
Oh, that's what we're doing. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, challenge the ha-ha traffic study.
Right.
Okay.
And see, in the same process every time as the flood study is one development will do a traffic study. And it might be before these other developments get completed, but the other 30 developments that have been completed by the time they're all done have now had a ginormous negative
Yes.
impact on the traffic. We see that happening with developments all the time. And that's not a municipal issue. That's really more of a state issue on how the regulations are going. That's a bigger conversation than just Everman on what needs to be done for development to come in and take place. And that's what we're hoping to have those conversations with once we get done with the flood study and the different things, is to take these up and keep running these up the chain to make the big changes that we feel need to be made. To answer the question about behind the trailer park, so this is the single family Hannah Ranch development, the entire development phases 1 through 4. And this is the portion that's going in behind the existing trailer park here. They were talking about extending more trailers up here. For whatever reason, that has died, and we have not heard anything about it in a couple of years. So as of right now, I don't believe that there are any plans for this land up here to be developed. Any other questions?
No.
The impact will be at school also.
Yes.
Is the city of Fort Worth planning on building a new high school for all this extra development? Or is it gonna land on it?
It will be Everman. To answer that question, it will be Everman. It's within the Everman ISD.
Any other questions? Comments?
One more, will Everman ISD present something to toward that?
It's not my place to speak on behalf of the ISD, but what I will say is I have talked with the ISD, and they are at this point pretty much staying impartial to it. And that is primarily due to, they have to consider completely different things than what we consider. They don't consider what kind of impact developments have on our residents. What they have to consider is enrollment numbers and how they're going to support the numbers coming in. And I will tell you that the school district's enrollment numbers have been down because of COVID. So development, not specifically manufactured housing or single family, but any development that brings the enrollment numbers up is actually beneficial to the school district. So at this point, after talking with them, they're just kind of taking an impartial stance because they're not against development as it would support the school district. But they have no reason to voice whether the development is manufactured housing, single family, multifamily, whichever. It doesn't matter to them. It's not in their realm, so to speak, of concern.
Any other questions? Okay, so let's move down to item B, water infrastructure system status and updates.
I brought Mr. Gilbert Ramirez here tonight to give you some update. We've got a lot of infrastructure projects, and so he's put together a list to provide you an update with some of those infrastructure projects.
All right, so first thing on my list I got is the ARPA funds. We talked about doing electrical for all the well sites, well, majority of the well sites. That has been completed 100%. So all the electrical has been done and on those well sites we decided to do. Columbine, we know we talked a lot about the drilling. Drilling is complete, is done. Today they started to go ahead and put the casing into the hole. So they should be done with casing in about a week. He tells me it's about 2 to 3 weeks to be done with the mesh that goes inside the casing. And then after that, it should be pretty easy to get done the rest of the stuff, putting the chlorine room and all that. So we're looking about a month or so for them to be completely done there at Columbine.
And it'll be operational in that time.
Yes. Moving to high school. High school, we had the well that broke down last week. And that has been fixed and operational. It was done and completed on Friday.
High school was Shelby lot.
High school.
High school, I saw them up there working.
Shelby
Yes,
was
there was
affected,
There was
right?
a mess up on the
Yeah.
I thought it was Shelby too.
on the name.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought it was Shelby too.
Well,
We know.
So it's high school lot.
That's why you thought it was Shelby, because I thought it was Shelby.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Yes.
I was out Pokemon and I saw them working on the high school well.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
there you go.
So I'm with you.
So that's back in operational. We're using the 2 wells now. We're keeping up with our tower. No need for Fort Worth water now.
Yay.
They were able to help us out for a couple of days though to maintain that water pressure. So that's been taken care of. The PD lot, we're Thursday, they're gonna come out. We're gonna check the booster pumps. Make sure they are connected right and we're able to use it. Our hope is by Friday, we should be operational as well. But
Yeah.
it depends. There's a couple of things that are not operational now that they brought in, that they are broken. And they're hoping to change that around and see if they can get some equipment back over here for us. So hopefully we can get this well as well operational on Friday.
Yay.
The chlorine room also that was presented for ARPA funds has been completed as well as Shelby. So it's a brand new chlorine room. It has all the stuff that we need according to TCQ. And we're about to start utilizing that on Monday.
Okay.
And I believe that's all the infrastructure, unless I'm missing something.
Thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No, lots of happy faces.
Yes.
We're expecting bad news. We've been getting a lot of that lately. Okay, so let's drop down to item C, Everman Sports Fields Ordinance and Fee Schedule Amendment. City Manager Craig Spencer.
So this is just on here for discussion this evening. If you recall, with the Everman Youth Sports Association, we amended the contract that we have with them to, instead of charging a per player fee, to charging a flat rate fee for the use of the fields for the whole year. When we did that contract with them, we did not amend our ordinance to reflect what the new contract says. So we need to update our ordinance so that the ordinance and the contracts that we're signing match. So that's the first issue that we're addressing here with this ordinance. The second issue is upon reviewing our fee schedule for what we charge outside entities, not what we charge Everman groups. But if the Burleson or Crowley or Arlington Youth Sports Association wanted to come in and utilize our fields, our rates were significantly lower compared to other municipalities. We were charging like $15 per day for use of the fields. After review and from recommendations from the Everman Youth Sports Association, we came up with a fee of $75 per event, which is more in line with what other municipalities charge. With the improvements that the city is continuing to make inside of our sports fields and our parks, we feel that that's an appropriate fee and will help maintain what your investment is into those parks and then continue those improvements going forward. There are a couple of edits that need to be made to this ordinance that Councilwoman Mackey has already pointed, or Mayor Pro Tem Mackey has already pointed out to me. It looks like the attorney when drafting skipped over one of these fees. I believe it is the damage deposit.
Right.
No, I'm sorry, the electricity deposit under Johnson Park subsection B. The fee amount is listed specifically within the ordinance. One thing we've been trying to do is stop listing fees within the specific ordinance and list the fee amounts within the fee schedule. That way, all of our fees are contained in one location, and we can very easily amend those fees and fee amounts going forward without having to go back every time and amend an entire ordinance because of a fee. There's also been times where we've amended the fee schedule, but have failed to amend an ordinance, and those fees no longer match, which creates a conflict there that we've had to resolve many times. So under section 1, subsection B, we're going to amend that one to match the remainder portion of the ordinance. And then under subsection C, the concession area fee will also be listed within the fee schedule. And in subsection D, that specific fee amount will also be added to the fee schedule. Other than that, other than those changes, everything else within the ordinance. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Section C, section 2, Clyde Pittman Park Football Field, if you look on page 30.
Yes, ma'am.
Section B, number 1, rental, no. Section C, up
Section
at the
C.
top, concession area fee also has $50 listed in it.
Yeah, that's what you say.
I was talking about, yes, I'm with you.
Well, concession fee for Johnson Park, it's also concession fee for Clyde Pittman.
Okay, we'll get
Okay,
both those.
okay.
We'll catch both those. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Other than that, the
Hurdles
spirit of this
Johnson.
ordinance is again to make sure that our ordinance matches what the contract was approved for with the Everman Youth Sports Association. And then to essentially increase our per event use for outside organizations to $75 per event. If there's any other changes that you would like to discuss, we can make those.
Yes. You are saying single field event rental is $75. The paper says hour,
Per hour, yes, ma'am.
but you've said event twice.
I'm sorry, it's per hour.
Okay,
Per
okay,
hour.
okay. I'm done.
As far as renting, is it still blacked out for the season for like the football or whatever?
The
Baseball.
specific dates that the Everman Youth Sports Association has exclusive rights to it are written within their contract. I don't have that right now in front of me, but I know, I think we're at the time period right now where it's open availability. And then an organization is permitted to rent it as long as the Everman Youth Sports Association agrees to it while they have that contract in place.
Yes.
So, if somebody wants to rent the fields on a Saturday and Everman Youth Sports is not running any games, then I would simply contact the president of the association and ask for their approval to rent it for that day, and we could still even rent it during that period of time. But there are specific dates outlined within the contract on when they have exclusive rights to it.
Any questions, comments?
No.
Okay, so we'll drop down to item 8, consideration of possible action. Item A, approve resolution 2022-07-02, resolution of the City Council of the City of Everman, Texas, to adopt and allocate funds for an outdoor fitness court as part of the 2022 National Fitness Campaign.
All right, so I know how much you guys love me bringing things to you last minute and asking for your approval on it. I know you do. We applied through Blue Cross Blue Shield National Fitness Campaign for a grant that would partly fund a fitness court within Pittman Park. We presented a couple of different locations to them. They agreed to provide it back to us with the one agreement that we put it in Pittman Park. And that's because they look at the developments that's going on around there, the improvements, the traffic, the usage, all those things. And they felt Pittman Park was going to be the more appropriate location for that. I've got some pictures here to show you as soon as I find it. I thought it was going to be in the photos. So what a fitness court is essentially it's an outdoor gym that utilizes your own body weight. So residents or citizens of any physical capability have the ability to go over here and utilize this gym. There's on the side of the fitness court is a barcode that they can scan that allows them to pull up some different programs and things that they can do on the fitness court. It's a beautiful fitness court. Let me pull up a picture here for you. I'm going to Google one real quick so I can show you. So these are what the fitness courts look like. They're a beautiful fitness court that utilizes their own body weight. There's several different programs that citizens can use. And it all around kind of pushes the fitness campaign within the community. Pittman Park seems to be a good fit for this, considering the other improvements that we're in the process of doing with the new walking track going around, the new playground equipment, the inclusive playground equipment. Blue Cross Blue Shield National Fitness Campaign agreed with that and awarded us a $50,000 grant towards this project. They're only supplying 200 of these nationwide. So we were lucky enough to be selected to do this. The allocation that will be required from this on the cities, because obviously we're not going to get this fitness court for $50,000. It's going to be more than that. You had to know that there was going to be a little bit of a catch here.
You were using coupons.
Let me share my screen again with you so I can show you this. In order to move forward with this, the city will be expected to contribute between $117,000 and $137,000. The reason why the dollar amount fluctuates so much is because it's going to be dependent upon contractor costs for concrete, artwork, and a few different other things. What we are proposing we do is that the city go ahead and approve a resolution in support of this project so we can move forward. That resolution is actually due tomorrow. That's why it's being brought to you last minute in order to maintain the grant. So I apologize for that. But the resolution to support this does not lock the city in. We will not owe a dime if for whatever reason this falls through and we're not able to move forward. So I would not let that shy you away from this. One of the things that we're working on is we're working on trying to enter into partnership agreements. We have had conversations with other entities nearby who may be interested in helping fund this project. And I can tell you that there has been significant interest in partnering to do it, but we have not yet got a commitment on that just yet. If the partners agree to do this, then I think the return would be is that we would put their logos and advertisement on the fitness court. On the backside of the fitness court, there's an open canvas essentially that you can put any sort of artwork up on. And we would leave that open to the partnering agency to determine what goes on that back wall to bring this here. The only other fitness courts so far that exist within the region are Midlothian and Grapevine is the only other one in Tarrant County. So this will bring something unique to Everman that isn't available in many other locations. That's a good thing to have as we're talking about the economic impact. We've talked about the potential of other developments and things going on here and the improvements within the park. So I think this just adds another little feather in the cap. We have not allocated any funds as of this point from the second tranche of ARPA. So there is funding available from there. Just keep in mind that we've talked a lot about using ARPA funds for other purposes. So at some point, we're going to have to make some tough decisions on what we're going to fund and what we're not going to fund. So I just kind of wanted to bring this to you tonight. We do have to adopt a resolution in order to maintain the funding potential from Blue Cross Blue Shield. But again, please do not feel like if just because you pass this resolution, we're locked in. We do not have a contract. We will not owe a dime if we have to back out of this.
Okay.
The resolution is essentially to show that there is support from city council and the citizens to be able to have a facility like this within Everman. Any questions?
I'm not gonna, no, you already covered it. Never mind.
I will also send you a video link, and you can look it up on YouTube as well. There's a really good video on what the National Fitness Campaign is really about. The fire department and the police department are going to step up. I'm sorry. Yeah, the fire department and police department are going to step up and do the first ambassador training, where essentially our public safety staff will serve as ambassadors and host wellness events and exercise events and target senior citizen groups and children groups to try to gain the interest out here within the park. And then the hope is as this program continues, we'll have citizens that step up that want to be ambassadors for this fitness court and take those roles on as we move forward.
Excellent. Get the city involved.
When will you look at the ARPA funds to see if anything could be go toward this?
So right after budget, our second tranche of ARPA funds is expected to be here in August. So as soon as we adopt the budget and we're done with our general operating budget, we should be able to then move
September.
into ARPA. So probably September is when we would look to make those allocations for the second tranche of ARPA.
The funds will be coming in September.
Is it September? Oh, September, I'm sorry.
At that point, should we know something from the potential sponsors?
Yes. We have been told he'll get back. The one we're working with right now that has a lot of interest, he'll get back with us pretty quick.
Is it a business or is it a city?
No, it's a business. It's a, yes.
Very, very, very big one.
Don't jinx it.
No, it's not, there's no widely acceptable.
And associated with fitness. So
Okay, excellent.
Wellness.
Don't jinx
The
it.
items
Wellness
that are on the ARPA list, are they priority?
I'm sorry, say it again.
The items that are on the ARPA list that we have scheduled for the funds, are they a priority?
So we have not allocated any of the money for the second tranche of ARPA. We've allocated all the dollars from the first tranche, the first 750 or almost $800,000. We have not allocated any of the second $800,000 yet. As we look to move forward, we did approve a couple of allocations that will probably bring recommendations we continue. And that includes the firefighter staffing and probably the police officer staffing. The employee staffing ones will probably ask you to continue, but even then, that still leaves close to $500,000 eligible for allocation for the second tranche. Keep in mind, I'm still getting a lot of requests for projects, and we have some things that are necessities that we need to address, but we do have this funding available as well.
The other money that came from the government that a lot of it went toward the sports association. Can any of that be used toward any of that?
Unfortunately not, because it's already been pre-allocated as a part of the grant application process. We can't reallocate those funds to something completely different.
Okay, now, are there going to be any more programs coming up that you're aware of? Because I know that I think Tarrant County had money that they just got that I think ends in August or whatever, the 25,000 that went to businesses.
Yes, we did. We've put in for a couple. So the Tarrant County funding that you're talking about is from CARES Act. The first tranche of CARES Act that came out is the grant funds that we got for the inclusive playground at Pittman Park, the handicap accessible playground and things over here. They put out a notice for tranche 2 and 3, and I asked if we were eligible to apply for 2 and 3, even though we already got 1. They told me no. When tranche 4 came out, I asked again, can we apply for 4? And they actually said yes. With tranche 4, we actually applied for water system improvements under Forest Hill Drive, because we know that Forest Hill Drive is under design phase right now for expansion. So prior to that, we wanted to see if we could get those funds to redo the water and sewer underneath the roadway. So unfortunately, we've exhausted all of our CARES Act funding. However, year after year, the community project funding that Congressman Vesey was kind enough to support us on is going to be available. And we're always looking, now that we're with Lexipol and we're always looking at other grant opportunities out there to see what other funding chances may come up. I know that Gilbert and Landon actually just attended a webinar about some transportation funding that may be coming down the pipeline for us too. So we're looking at all funding, any opportunity for money. We're trying to
Always.
find it.
The
We're trying to find it.
partnership would just be a partnership, it would be a financial partnership as well, so we have asked for additional funding to assist from them as well.
Do we have any other questions or comments about the resolution? I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve resolution 22, that's not right, 2022-07-02 as read.
Second.
Motion made second. Any further discussion? Hold the council.
Place 1.
Aye.
Place 3.
Aye.
Place 4.
Aye.
Place 5.
Aye.
Place 6.
Aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
motion carried.
Okay, next item is executive session, section 551.074, personnel matters, past performance review and evaluation of city manager. So time is 7:09. We will convene into executive session. Susan, would you join us?
Yes, sir.
Doing your time
Goober.
off, aren't
Goober,
you?
goober.
So I told her-
I'm still
I
considering
told her I was
this
gonna put you in my
summer,
phone.
teacher
with that.
summer. And then when everybody goes back to work August 3rd, that's when I'll be.
That's when you really are. Yes.
I'm enjoying the summer.
Yes, yes.
Mindy, you ready? Are we live?
Yes.
Okay, I'll call the meeting back to order. The time is 7:38. There was no action taken in executive session. Next item, city manager's report.
I've got a couple things I wanted to review with you real quick. First off, had a staff meeting yesterday with some staff from Tarrant County related to Wichita Street. So this project is moving right along. Commissioner Brooks has made a commitment that he wants this project complete prior to the completion of his term. So we're expecting this project to be complete within the next 2 years. Engineering has already begun on this, and the purpose of the staff meeting yesterday was to get input from Everman and Forest Hill on the initial design and any concerns that may come up. So I did want to share this with you to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. This is the overall project. I know that's really hard to see. You probably can't see anything. But the project is going to stretch from just north of the pawn shop here on Wichita all the way to Interstate 20.
Cool.
The plan is just after Bowie Drive, Wichita will widen into a 5-lane road going from just north of Bowie all the way to Interstate 20, with the center lane being a turn lane. They are also going to be putting on the east side of the roadway what's called a shared path. A shared path is a 10-foot wide sidewalk essentially that allows for multi-directional pedestrian traffic, either on foot or on bicycle. The city of Forest Hill has future plans for this vacant land between Forest Hill Circle and the church and where their civic center is, for this to be their city center. So they have some developments and stuff that are going to go here. So the purpose of that shared youth path was to provide pedestrian travel between the city of Everman and there. So if you haven't noticed, there's always a lot of foot traffic on Wichita as you're driving north. This would alleviate that and get them off the road and provide them a safe path to and from.
What did you call it? What are they?
Shared path,
No. Forest Hill's use of that land?
city center. So city center meaning, so they're trying to make that kind of the hub, the business hub. And Forest Hill Circle already has a lot of that with the hotels and
Yes.
restaurants and things there. So they're trying to bring in office spaces and so forth
Okay.
in this area.
Okay, and they're going to put a light there also
At
Circle.
Forest Hill Circle, yes, there's going to be a traffic light put here that'll be timed with the traffic light at the intersection of 20
It needs it.
and Wichita.
Okay,
Where Wichita comes into the city of Everman, right where it hits the city limits, going to narrow back down to 2. It will still be an improved concrete roadway
ooh,
as it comes down towards the pawn shop. And then they're recommending here, we blow it up a little bit easier so you can see a little better. This is currently how Roy C. Brooks intersects with Wichita. They are proposing to curve that to make it a 90-degree intersection
Yes.
with Wichita, so it's a safer intersection
Yes.
there. So the county is working on land acquisition for this piece of property here, which will actually create 2 commercial pieces of property open for development on either side of Roy C. Brooks, on the north and the south side,
that's excellent.
for small commercials such as another retail shop or gas station or something.
That 45-degree
Is that
angle on
Forest
that
Hill or
street is bad.
Fort Worth?
I'm sorry.
Is that Everman, Forest Hill, or Fort Worth?
This portion of Wichita is in Everman.
Okay.
This is Everman. It's that vacant triangle piece of land right north of where the pawn shop is.
Mhm.
There will be curb along the entire stretch, and there will be an MS4 stormwater management system underneath the road, because as we all know, anytime it rains any good amount, Wichita goes underwater.
Yep.
So they are addressing that. A lot of what you see in blue is the drainage culverts that they're planning to
Under the
put in here to
street.
connect it, to get that water off of the roadway and feed it up to the South Creek located in Forest Hill.
Okay, that's excellent.
So just
That's
wanted to
South
give you a
Creek, huh?
quick update on that project. It is moving right along. Also, I met with the city of Fort Worth today, a couple of staff members. Gilbert and Mindy joined me for that meeting. Actually, I joined them because I was late. But we are working with the city of Fort Worth, and we plan on having some more meetings and coming back to you here in the near future about safe routes to school programs, that will provide sidewalks both in Fort Worth and Everman along Shelby Road and Ray Street to get some sidewalks put in over there to get the kids off the roadways. We know that that's been a big issue. I know that Councilwoman Allen has been pushing for that for a while. Also wanted to let you know that the Civic Center is now listed on the EV Incentive website. And that EV Incentive website has produced a lot of interest in rental of our facility. We have received over 20 hits, and Mindy's phone was blowing up yesterday from people wanting to rent that facility. So I just wanted to let you know that that is being marketed and advertised, and we are getting a lot of interest and expect to have several bookings coming up here in the near future. So
Okay.
other than that, that's all I've got, Mayor.
Question about Civic Center, someone rents it, everyone gets the funds, everything, they, time goes on, and we get the funds, where those funds go?
I think we may have to discuss that at, well,
Oh, we don't have an answer, never mind. Okay, I
it's
got you.
not actually on the agenda, so we
Gotcha.
can't get into a discussion.
Well,
on
it was a
But
question.
we can
We'll
talk
talk
about
about
that.
that. We'll talk about that during,
Friday.
during revenues on budget.
Yeah, see, okay. Write that down, Susan, please.
Yes.
Is the price to rent it on the website?
Yes.
Next item is mayor's report. Yesterday, Susan and I met with Kelly Dennison, and he resigned as place two, so effective yesterday. So
November
we will
election.
be running with 6 people until the November election. We have to call a special election. And so it's imperative that we have 4 here. So we have our quorums. So just kind of keep that in mind. So, and that's all I'll say on that. So, so with that being said, the time is 7:44. We are adjourned.